them today. Ray Parlour is included as far as Middlesbrough are concerned. There was a doubt over him because of a knee injury, but he is in and returns here to Highbury today. Let's have a look at those team boards then, shall we? That's Arsenal's back to front. Lundberg in there, Gilberto, Fabregas, Reyes, Bergkamp and Henry up front for them today. And if we look at the Middlesbrough lineup, we can see a couple of changes in there. No Ekiog today. Cooper, though, is in. Hasselbank and York up front for them. But Ray Parlour is here and will play. 9 trophies he got. Get a warm reception out there today, that's for sure.
Speaking of trophies, we'll have the Premier League special celebratory trophy for the unbeaten season that Arsenal have just completed. Richard Scudamore, the chief executive, will be with us shortly. So too Martin Keown, as Arsenal close in on another record, 42 unbeaten. That's next on a Super Sunday. It'll be 42 matches, which equals Nottingham Forest's record set in the late 70s. Andy's gone round to do his proper job. He'll be back at 6:30 for the last word on the weekend's football. But Martin Keown has joined us. John Gregory's still here. And at the far end, Richard Scudamore, the chief executive of the Premier League, who's brought with him a very, very attractive piece of jewellery. Now, that will be presented to Arsenal today to mark the unbeaten season. It's sort of an inside out in terms of colours, Richard. Half version of the Premier League trophy, isn't it? And beautiful it is too.
Yeah, that's right, Richard. It's half the size in height. The normal trophy, the bulk of it is in silver, the rest is in gold. This is a reverse. That's gold for the majority of it, silver on the top, to mark what was a remarkable achievement by Arsenal last season.
And quite right, Martin, hey? Because it was an extraordinary achievement.
Yeah, very nice for the club to have won that, and something to remember it by, yes.
Do you think it'll ever be done again?
Who knows? We'll have to see. Probably not. It was an incredible achievement. You needed a large amount of luck, which they had, but to go with that, they showed a tremendous commitment, very professional, and you know, today I think they can match what is also a very good record from Nottingham Forest. I'm probably one of the few players who can remember that team. And you know, Brian Clough was a unique manager. I think we have a unique manager here with Arsene Wenger, and you know, obviously we would be very proud to match that record.
Where was the idea first spawned, Richard?
Well, there was a lot of attention before they actually achieved the record, and the Premier League board made a conscious decision not to even discuss the prospect of commissioning anything special until that last game. Obviously, the Leicester game here on the last day of the season. We got together on the Monday, and the board of the Premier League got together and just talked around 7 or 8 different ideas. And this was the one that they came up with, and I think it's taken literally the 13 weeks from that day till last week for Aspreys, the jewellers, to actually make it. So it's original, and I don't think we'll be making another one.
I saw a feature on Sky Sports News during its creation. I think it was it's been worked upon by West Ham fans who actually were happy to acknowledge the achievement as well. But 1 or 2 Arsenal fans have had their hands on it as well. Plainly, you don't think that I mean, it's a one-off. There won't be another one.
Well, I think as achievements come along, you can't give away trophies, you know, for too trivial a thing. I mean, obviously, it is I think most people in the game recognised, and most commentators in the game recognised, that it was a remarkable achievement at this level to go unbeaten throughout the season. And engraved around the bottom,
yeah, that's
for
nice
posterity,
detail.
yeah, there's all the 19 teams that were unable to beat them, and it actually says that unbeaten by, and it lists the 19 clubs around the bottom. So again, it's unique in that sense. It'll never be the same 19 clubs, you know, against whom they play.
Well, it's leaving us now. Richard's taking that round to the Arsenal boardroom, where it'll be received on the pitch a little later by both David Dean and Patrick Vieira, I believe, who is here today as well. Be careful with it, because it is very, very nice.
I'll try not to drop it.
Thank you for joining us, Richard. It isn't just the 38 games, though. We should remember that this extraordinary Arsenal side have been breaking records for the past 2 years or so now.
Nobody does it better. Makes me feel sad for the rest. Nobody does it half as good as
Absolutely superb.
I wasn't looking, but somehow you found me. I tried to hide.
defeat on their travels.
Nobody does it quite the way you do.
One of the greatest achievements since English football began. Special manager Martin Keown, just call him very special. I would have thought Arsene Wenger. What's it been like to play in this Arsenal team?
Well, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure to play. They're outstanding players, very, very professional through the week. The attention to detail is really what sets them apart. You know, they're true professionals. And the manager buys a certain type of player, first of all, a certain type of individual. They're all athletic, they come with good ability, and he seems to take them onto another level. And you know, it's a pleasure to come in to work every day. I think he tries to create that kind of harmony there. And I think most people are going there to improve themselves. You know, they're signing players now, know that they're going and they're going to come away as better.
We sit and watch it, and I think Arsenal are playing football at a different level now. I mean, when you're out there and you're playing with them, are there sometimes you just stand and scratch your head and say, wow, I mean, how did he do that?
That's right. I mean, I think, you know, when Canu first came to the club, and it was almost funny, some of the things he was doing. It was incredible skill. And, you know, they pick the ball up and you know what's going through the mind of the defender for the opposition, because you're training against him every day through the week, and it's not going to be easy. And they really punish people. And I think over the years they've got more collective in front of goal. I think that the decision making they've made has got better. And I think that what impresses the manager is the simplicity of their game. You know, if they pass the ball simply, that's what he's looking for. People aren't coming into the team looking to do too much and to impress. And you know, anyone the manager brings in goes on to emulate the people before them.
I think that's what, sorry John to interrupt, because I must just make mention of this before we talk about it. I think that's what they always said about Brian Clough's teams, wasn't it? The simplicity of Brian Clough's teams, who set this 42-game record at the back end of the 70s. People like Archie Gemmill, people like Tony Woodcock here scoring in a 4-0 at Old Trafford. People like, I mean, Gary Birtles, if you like. And here's two to pay tribute to Arsenal.
Way back when we did it, what was it, 25, 26, 27 years, whatever it is, you know that records eventually will be broken, but you would hope that you would have been 6 foot under by the time it did happen. Perhaps maybe by Saturday morning we might be.
I got to say, I never thought it would be. I never thought it would be then, and Arsenal are really so close to it now. So, for the praise for them, then if they do, then they'll have deserved it. There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt. I would echo that as well. They have been a fantastic side, and to go that number of games unbeaten is a phenomenal achievement. And the way they're going, they look as if they could continue for some considerable time. If they break the record, we'll say drat that and go on and wish them all the best, because I'll tell you what, when they do go past it, theirs will remain in the history books for a long, long time after that.
I wonder who the last footballer was to say drat that, Martin. 42 games from Forest's team in the 70s. Can you compare them, or is that silly?
I think it's I don't know. I mean, it was just as hard in those days to win a game as it is today. You still had that quality of opposition, you know, each and every week. What Cloughie did at that particular stage was amazing. They got 42 games unbeaten throughout a season, which was absolutely incredible. And you never thought.
Well, it was across 2 seasons. In fairness, so they had the gap.
But you'd never expect that to happen again, Richard. To be fair, it's a tremendous run to go that. And as I said earlier on the show, Martin, I was saying about there's always a game where no matter what you do, things don't go well for you. You know, things go against you, and you lose the games that you probably deserve to win. But that hasn't happened for Arsenal either last year. And who's to say that they're not going to sort of make a big dent into this season as well?
So, can Middlesbrough stop them equalling the record today? Well, the bookies certainly don't think so. The Gunners 5-2 on, 9-1 you can get on Middlesbrough winning here, and 7-2 the draw, which of course would do. So it's Middlesbrough who stand in the way. They have won here at Highbury once, but it is only the once.
We were young, we were wrong, we were fine all along. If there's somebody calling me on, she's the one. When you get to where you wanna go, and you know the things you wanna know, yeah. Smiling. When you said what you wanna say, and you know the way you wanna play. You'll be so high, you'll be.
Dennis Bergkamp. Oh, magnificent goal by Dennis Bergkamp. There's an opening here for Dennis Bergkamp. Gavin has been caught for pace. It's Dennis Bergkamp. And it's back off the post. And back in by Mark Overmars. And here's Overmars. Mark Overmars claims his hat-trick.
Comes Henry, a long run up and a very well placed penalty. It's 2-0 to Arsenal, no disputing that. Perez, 3. And here is Ljungberg, and it is 4-0.
So on the basis of that, likely to be Arsenal this afternoon, but Middlesbrough will have different plans, of course. Martin, just thinking about last season once again, was there one game, one time when actually you might have thought in your own mind, or those, we're going to get done here?
I think probably the Portsmouth game at home, when we got a fortunate penalty maybe, and it was early on in the season, and Portsmouth set their stall out well on the day. And it was a difficult match for us, and we got through that. And confidence is a very fragile thing. And had we not got a result there, who knows what would have happened.
And what about the back end of the season when you were sitting largely waiting to make those cameo appearances? Portsmouth again, perhaps, when they were in front, and were there any concerns then?
No, I think at the time.
This is the game against Birmingham, when I think they'd wound you up, hadn't they? And they were threatening to put Ray Parlour on, having used two subs.
I think that was Ray Parlour. It's a big day for Ray today, and I hope Ray gets a great reception because he really deserves it here. He's a great man and a very important ingredient in your team to be successful. And maybe he didn't get the credit he deserved here, but the fans anyway here, they love him.
Yeah, he'll likely get that now he's gone, of course. That's always the way, isn't it? But the back end of the season, were the boys thinking about the record? Was it on your mind at that stage?
It kind of went stale there at the end once the championship had been won, and it was. I don't think the boys really realised the magnitude of what was there if they kept going, and I think they just did enough really. That game particularly, we weren't in any real danger, and that was the quality of the team. I think the last game of the season we went a goal down, and as soon as they needed to, they turned on the style and ended up winning comfortably. So there's a lot more to come from this team. It's very young.
A lot more.
A lot more to come.
Frightening.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just like the additions that they've made, the youngsters in the squad. When I saw the Charity Shield game at the start, a couple of weeks back, Manchester United fielded a lot of their, what you would call lesser players, and Arsenal introduced a lot of their lesser, younger players. And the younger players of Arsenal were better than the younger players of Manchester United, and they just looked such a force to be reckoned with this season.
Golden shoe? for Thierry Henry. Everywhere you look today, there are awards being made. There's something for Jens Lehmann as well. I think it's the top keeper in the Premiership at some stage this afternoon. But let's not forget the fact that Middlesbrough are here, and just like Arsenal last year, they had their hands on silverware, one of only 3 clubs, of course, in the English League to do so. They have pushed on during the summer. They have spent big. Now can they go to the next stage?
It takes time before you make it. It's a fantastic start for Middlesbrough. Send in, and Middlesbrough's trophy cabinet can be declared open. After 128 years of hurt, Middlesbrough claims silverware.
The fact that you won the trophy last year really gave a boost to the club, and you see how happy the fans were, all the people that work for the club. It was a major success, and the other important thing is that because of that we play Europe this year, and you can see by that that you can attract other players as well to actually come and play for Middlesbrough. Some big names came in, and they all are still very hungry to success, and I think that's the main key. I mean, the club is very ambitious, and it's important that when you bring players in that they're ambitious as well. I think that's a very good thing as well from Steve Gibson's point of view, the chairman, that after a year like last year you could say, well, listen, we've won the cup, we can lean back now and yeah, let's say enjoy the fact that we've won it, and we can go on like that for a few years. But he took the bull by the horns and signed a few big players to actually make another step towards first 6.
It's alright 'cause the future's bright in your own way. It's alright 'cause the future's bright anyway. It's gonna be
Of course, we know that Arsenal and Man United and even Chelsea, they're far away. Even maybe this year it will be again a 3-horse race. But in the end, you have to look at what's behind there, and we want to be the team that is right behind them, and that's our main aim, of course, to be finishing first 6, qualify again for Europe, but now through the position in the league.
So have they got the ingredients, John, to be able to take it to the next level? I suppose the level you'd have liked to have gone with Villa if you'd won the FA Cup that year, for instance.
Yeah, well, I think with Middlesbrough, really their league form has been very erratic over the last few seasons, and they should be pushing for at least a European place. Whether or not they've got enough there to go Champions League, I don't think they probably have. But certainly, sort of, you've got to be looking at a top 6 place, top 6, top 7. Just to move the club on again and just to keep making a move forward. They've made big strides last season, gone out and spent a lot of money in the summer. People like Hasselbank and Viduka, although they haven't spent a lot, maybe financially, they've actually taken on big wages. So they need to be threatening European places now.
Martin Keown was hoping for a good reception for Ray Parlour. Well, he's just, there he is. In Middlesbrough colours. What if he gets a chance today to end the run? More from Highbury when we come back. It's a Super Sunday from Highbury now. We've seen the Midlands derby between West Brom and Villa earlier. One apiece there. It's Arsenal and Middlesbrough now. Tuesday night from the Premiership, it's Crystal Palace and Chelsea. 7 o'clock start on Sky Sports 2. And same time, same place, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 2 for Newcastle and Norwich. And these supporters here today are coming to see largely they're Gunners fans, to see if Arsenal can make it 42 games across 3 seasons. That will be unbeaten. Ray Parlour's back with Middlesbrough today. He was allowed to go in the summer, and one of the reasons for that might just be the form of the Spaniard, Jose Antonio Reyes, who's been terrific so far this season. We saw him in the Community Shield, 2 goals in 2 games so far. And is he enjoying life at Highbury?
With 2 goals in 2 games, Jose Antonio Reyes has started this season in the same cracking form that he finished the last.
At the moment everything's going very well, I have to say. Everything is smelling of roses. I hope that it's not just now, but it'll continue for the future.
It was a different story back in January when the young Spaniard arrived. He was chronically homesick, and an own goal against today's opponents Middlesbrough made it a tough start.
Well, I have to say it's very hard in the beginning. I left all the family I loved, the club which I'd played for my whole life, my friends, and of course the country that I'd been brought up with and I love. But a footballer has got to adapt, and it really is a positive adaptation.
Above
all, I think it's been the physical side to the game. It's been incredibly physical and fast, but with the help of the physios, with the team, I've been going to the gym, it's helped me adapt to this physical side of the game.
Francesc Fabregas and Manuel Almunia make up Arsenal's Spanish trio, but there could be more on the way.
It does look like there's a lot of Spanish in the team at the moment, and every day there seems to be more Spanish people. In 2 years I think it will all be Spanish, but I have to say it's very nice to have a lot of Spanish speakers within the team.
They say football's an international language, but Reyes may need to go to finishing school to improve his communication skills.
I am finding it very hard. I am starting to understand all the messages on the pitch and the English that is needed to understand myself with my teammates, but if I don't start understanding a lot more, my English teacher will be very angry.
John Gregory and Martin Keown are with us this afternoon. I mean, John was talking about the quality of the youngsters coming through, Martin. I suppose to some degree he goes into that category, doesn't he, Reyes?
Yes, he's a very young man, but what impressed me most about him when he came was his willingness to shut down defenders. You know, when you've got the ball at the back, he's all over people, a little bit like Ian Rush used to be many years ago for Liverpool. He's got an eye for goal. The difficulty we deciding which is his best position, because he's equally effective either down the middle or on the left. I mean, when he goes past people, you don't get back to him. He's lightning quick and lethal in front of goal.
But as we saw in the Community Shield, he doesn't mind going back that way either, does he? Like Giggs to defend, to help his fullback out.
Oh, he's a worker. I mean, his work rate's phenomenal. If you look at the stats, and they look at all the stats of each player, and he's one that's working harder than most.
Is he quicker than Henry?
No one's quicker than Henry.
I thought you were quicker than him.
No, not. I'm afraid not.
Perhaps in his prime.
You know, we've not talked about Henry today, and you know, he's a phenomenal player. And I'm looking forward today to see how he is. He didn't start the pre-season with everybody else, so he's a little bit behind. So we won't have seen the best of him yet. But as it unfolds, you know, truly fantastic player who's grown so much in stature since he's come to the club. He came to the club from Juventus, lacking confidence. I think he'd lost his belief in himself, and I think the manager put that back in place for him, and he's rewarded the manager with, you know, really fantastic success.
Another of the big gunners not available to Arsenal today is Sol Campbell, who is waiting to talk to his touchline with Mark Bolt.
Everyone's talking about the achievement. Hasn't quite happened yet, but if it does, it will be some achievement.
It's a great achievement, you know, going all season without getting beaten. So the lads are in good shape. We've still got another games to go, but you know, the records are there. But it's a new season now, so we've got to concentrate on that.
Are you surprised amongst yourselves that you've come this far unbeaten in the league? Is there an element of surprise to it?
Well, you can't really plan these things, you know. There was a couple of times last season where, you know, tackles and good saves and, you know, a little bit lucky in some games. So you can't really plan for these things. They just happen. So we just go, you know, appreciate the position we're in now and keep on going.
Lots of column inches in the newspapers over the last couple of days about your future. They're saying that you want to stay. Is that the case? Can you clarify that for us?
Yeah, we're talking, and there's you know, we're advanced stages of nearly sealing the deal. You know, there's a few bits and bobs to go, but you know, it's nearly there. It's nearly done now, so it's good.
And fitness-wise, how are you? You look well to me.
I'm in good shape. It's coming along. Hopefully another 3 weeks or whatever. I need at least 10 days, 2 weeks pre-season, so, but it's good.
Lots to celebrate today. Go out there and enjoy it.
Yep, cheers, thank you.
Can't think of too many that have been here and not improved, Martin. How much better is he as a player, having come to Arsenal?
Well, I've been very impressed with Sol from day one. He's an outstanding defender, one of the best defenders I've ever played with. As an out-and-out defender, he's there every week, he's solid, and he's a winner. You know, and I think he's grown a lot since he's been at Arsenal. He's now got that winning mentality that you need at a big club. They're going to miss him, and really we need to get as many, or they need to get as many good results as possible while he's out of the team. But yeah, great player, good guy as well in the dressing room, and thoroughly enjoyed working with him.
And will they miss Ray Parlour, who's back today with Middlesbrough? One of Highbury's favourite sons. Major trophies during his time at Highbury. He's one of those, I mean, he's a manager's dream, isn't he, Ray Parlour?
Oh, without any question. I think there was probably a big queue for him in the summer, to be fair. A lot of clubs would have liked to have taken Ray Parlour. And the trophies really back up everything about him, you know, the things that he's won since he's been here. And one of them that you'd always want in your side, you know, because you know, I mean, hard little so-and-so, you know, he put his foot in all over the pitch, just totally committed. Every time he stepped onto the pitch, you know, I always think with Ray Parlour, he was always there, no matter what the score was in the game. He always played exactly the same way, never took his foot off the gas, and just a great club player. And
did all of that, and also scored one of the greatest FA Cup goals. Well, I was thinking of the decade, but probably of all time, Martin. It was a fabulous goal. That one against Chelsea, wasn't it?
Ray was capable of that, you know, of scoring those great goals. Maybe he didn't score as many as he'd like to, but. Ray's a great guy to be in. Lots of fun with Ray, you know, in the dressing room. They'll miss that in there because Ray was a big man for the banter. He's probably doing the same now at Middlesbrough. But great guy, Steve McLaren is piecing together a useful team there. There's some good players come there in the summer, and Steve knows what a good job Ray will do there. I
suppose there was a temptation to stay here because he could have done, couldn't he? But the 3-year contract, once it's offered, and you're at the stage of life that he is. That's got to swing it, hasn't it, the decision?
Well, it was well documented, wasn't it, the problems for Ray, and I think it was a financial decision. You know, Ray Parlour would like to have stayed here, but it became impossible, really, with the mess he found himself in, and all credit to him, really. He's gone there and to do it, and I think he will make that side better.
I think it's going to be hard for him today, isn't it, coming back to a club where he's been a hero, to actually come back and play as well as he did when he was here. And mentally, I think it's always very difficult, Richard, to go back to the club.
You feel as if everyone's watching you, really, and there's 22 other or 21 other players out there. But the focus perhaps will be on Ray. We're talking about Ray, aren't we? So people are looking to see how he responds. But you know, Arsenal have this habit, we were just talking there about making the pitch as big as they can when they have the ball. And then when you've got it, there's nowhere to go. It's so tiny, the pitch. And Ray will find that out now, being on the receiving end. I've come back here as playing for Aston Villa. Found it very difficult. It's a big day. But Ray's a lot older than that, and he's quite experienced. So I hope to see he has a good game today.
And what if that ball's in front of an open goal late on, and there's an opportunity, John, to end this run?
Yeah, he'll put it away. I wonder, I think it's been quite nice over the last few years when you see players going back to their former clubs, scoring but not celebrating. I think that's quite a nice touch.
Yeah, very much so.
So I'm sure Ray Parlour will be very careful if he was to score today for Middlesbrough.
And a presentation to mark the years of service as well. There's the Vice Chairman of Arsenal, David Dean, down there.
Nice touch, yeah.
This is what I always have admired so much about Arsenal. They do things properly, Richard. I mean, that's a tremendous. Well, exactly. They set so many standards in so many different ways, not just on the football pitch with regard to their ability on the football pitch, just all the little other bits and pieces that they do, and that is a tremendous gesture by the Arsenal board.
It's very pleasing to see that.
I imagine that's very emotional for Ray as well.
Yeah.
He won't dare score now, will he?
No.
To be fair.
No, that's ruined his first 10 minutes, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. There's a bit of psychology to all this, you know, all these presentations, but yeah.
Very much so. So they are unbeaten in this 41 games. 42 the record held by Nottingham Forest. Just one more push will take them there.
And the unbeaten run is still intact.
So for the second time this afternoon, we have live Premiership football. It's Arsenal against Middlesbrough. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thanks, Richard. Andy, you've watched a lot of those 41 Arsenal games. You played against Nottingham Forest back in the late 70s during their great run. Any points of comparison?
Well, they're both great teams. I don't think there's a doubt about that. Brian Clough and Peter Taylor got themselves a fantastic team. Very different, I feel. Much more organised, functional, I would say. Less flamboyant than this side that Arsene Wenger's put together. Yeah, you pretty much knew what you were getting when you watched Forest play. They were pretty rigid in what they were asked to do. This team is, you know, far more off the cuff than they were, but for a different era, at a different time, both were magnificent sides, no doubt about that.
Let's look at Arsene Wenger's choice today, and it is same again for Arsenal, even though 8 of this 11 have been away on international duty in midweek, particularly Gilberto, who's been all the way to Haiti and back on behalf of Brazil. Alongside him, the 17-year-old starlet from Spain, Cesc Fabregas. He makes his Highbury League debut against a player who has known this league and this ground for so much longer, Ray Parlour. Ray Parlour has only just made it, in fact, with a knee problem, and the same applies to Michael Reisiger at right back. He's got a damaged shoulder, but they both play. But neither Southgate nor Echiog are in the team, so 37-year-old Colin Cooper clocks up his 400th appearance for Middlesbrough. Frank Kudru is back at left back in place of Parnaby. Middlesbrough, of course, now have the last man to score a winning goal against Arsenal in the Premiership. That's Mark Viduka, of course, but he's still serving a carryover suspension from his time at Leeds United.
Well, slipped into gear quite beautifully. Had Goodison last weekend with this side. There's not an awful lot I can tell you that's new from this side. The only thing I would say, obviously, they are weaker with Seagal instead of Campbell. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. That may be something that people at Hasselbank tries to exploit, but it's very, very difficult because the other 10 players in this side are exceptional footballers. So it'll be really, really difficult. Be the 4-4-2 that we're used to. We saw last weekend, if you give Bergkamp any time and space, he'll just about destroy you on his own, and that's what Middlesbrough mustn't do, mustn't allow today. Well, Steve McLaren, well, I feel a little bit sorry for him. You look at the centre of that defence, Cooper and Riggett. I would normally see Southgate and Echiog. They're not there. That's a huge blow. And a little bit weaker on the right-hand side than they would like to. Mendieta's got to play well defensively, you feel. But they've got enough up top with Jimmy and Desiree Job. If they can get the ball in that area, you just don't know.
Well, it may take many years before the merit in Arsenal's undefeated Premiership season is fully recognised, but the Premier League have acted swiftly with Richard Scudamore, their extremely efficient chief executive, presenting a unique memento based on the Premier League trophy itself to Patrick Vieira, whose part in this presentation was in some doubt, serious doubt a week or so ago, but he is now a committed Arsenal captain, if at the moment a non-playing one. No move in the end to Real Madrid, though no shortage of others from England who are jumping at that particular chance.
It's normally the top of the championship trophy they have trouble with. Patrick's having trouble with the bottom. of the small one. But it's great to see the Premier League recognise this achievement, Mr. Tyler. They've acted quickly and appropriately for me.
I guess you could call it 38 steps to what Arsene Wenger has called immortality. Those 38 unbeaten Premiership games, season 2003-2004, Arsenal champions. And let's get a quick word from Arsenal's Vice Chairman, David Dein, who's with Mark Bolton.
Special moment, that. Just how proud are you?
Very, very proud indeed. I know I speak on behalf of the board, of all the Arsenal fans around the world. It's really been a privilege to watch Arsenal play recently. And I don't know how long our unbeaten record can last, but I just hope Arsene keeps on delivering those miracles.
You're 90 minutes away from equalling Nottingham Forest's record. Will you do it this afternoon?
Well, you know, you can never tell in football. It's a roller coaster ride always, and when you expect to win, invariably you don't. So we can just do our best every game, and we've got a great manager, very, very committed, an enormously talented squad of players, great coaching staff, good medical, everything is going well. We've just got to make sure it keeps on going.
Congratulations for what you've achieved already. Good luck today.
Thank you very much indeed.
And of course, Arsene Wenger poised to extend his contract with Arsenal. All credit to David Dein, almost 8 years ago now, in recognising the potential in the manager that he in particular brought to Highbury. And not a bad way to go into negotiations, is it, for Arsene Wenger's point of view, with what Arsenal have achieved and continue to achieve. And I think one thing you know about Premiership football, that you just cannot predict what the outcome will be. It's part of the appeal, and here we are, with most of the clubs having played 2 games this season and only one of them with a 100% record, Andy, Chelsea.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and had Arsenal need to win this game, then you might think there's even more reason to think there might be a surprise. But I think when you're talking about will Middlesbrough win, should Arsenal lose this game, I think that's a tall, tall order. I expect Arsenal to finish it off today, an equal Forest record. I think they deserve to. I think they've been magnificent. When you think Forest drew 21 of their 42 games, and I think Arsenal won about, what, 29 of theirs? That's a fantastic record, absolutely fantastic.
Well, Thierry Henry hasn't scored in a game and a half for Arsenal this season, and even had a penalty save playing for France on Wednesday. Those frustrations might just be bad news for Middlesbrough over the next 90 minutes. But when it comes to goal scoring, Jose Antonio Reyes has scored in each of his last 4 Arsenal starts either side of the summer break. And he is raring for the off again, I'm sure.
They're on their own at the moment in the tunnel, Arsenal. I wouldn't get them too angry if I was Steve McLaren.
Middlesbrough, we shouldn't forget their big dividend on several years of heavy investment by Steve Gibson, the chairman in particular, by winning their first major trophy, the League Cup, the Carling Cup. With it, that UEFA Cup place. Their first European adventure starts next month, and they have ploughed even more money into the team in the summer. But Colin Cooper has been wheeled out again, and you can bet he'll be up for the challenge of shutting out Arsenal, considerable though it is. He was offered a coaching job, actually, but he said, if you want me as a player, I'm going to concentrate 100% on it. I'm sure that's the right thing, and he'll need that 100% concentration here at Highbury today, where the champions return, trying to stay focused on this as just another match. But another feat is within reach for their talented feet today. Game 42 to equal Nottingham Forest is against Middlesbrough. It's live right after this break.
These little fellas are cute. Placed all around the ground today with their Arsenal flags. Junior Gunners welcoming their heroes. All right, Gaffer. We're live at Highbury. It's Arsenal against Middlesbrough, our second live game from the Premiership today. We're interactive, of course. Push the red button, follow the menu. That's where you'll find those screens. That's where you can enjoy the facilities. First up today on Player Cam, we will be following Ray Parlour, who's back at Highbury, but in Middlesbrough colours. Let's join our match commentators, Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
In fact, Richard Ray-Parlour has played 333 Premiership games for Arsenal, the most by any Arsenal player since the new league was formed. Dennis Bergkamp would have to play 2 more years to overtake him. Patrick Vieira into a third. So that's the contribution, at times an unsung hero, but his last goal was certainly one that no one will forget in the 2002 FA Cup final. The 2001 FA Cup final was refereed by Steve Dunn, and Arsenal lost it, of course, to Liverpool. Sunshine in North London. Pitch, an absolute picture. Ground staff telling me that it's been a wonderful summer for growing grass. How come that it's only weeds that grow in my garden?
Ditto.
So Thierry Henry alongside the current Arsenal captain Dennis Bergkamp. Chance for Arsenal to join Chelsea on 6 points. Any win would take them to the top of a table. I know, Andy, you don't approve of league tables this early in the season.
Oh, yes, I do. Especially if you're top.
Here's first touch for Fabregas on his home Premiership debut. At the age of 17, he was away making his under-21 debut for Spain on Tuesday. It's just one little factor that will be concerning Arsene Wenger, how so many of his international players will just have got their minds and their bodies right and their return to domestic action. Middlesbrough only had a couple of players needed by their countries.
When you look at the side they're up against, Arsenal, it's a very, very experienced team, this Middlesbrough team. Won't be fazed by the environment they're in, that's for sure.
Boateng, Frank Kerdru is another who's not 100% fit for Steve McLaren. Cross booted high by Seagull. Continues for Sol Campbell alongside Toure, who makes the header. But the flag was up for offside. Actually, Middlesbrough had an injury-free pre-season, and then suddenly it all started to go wrong on Friday the 13th of August when Gareth Southgate was injured in training. Others have with problems. Rather a patched-up team that was only really confirmed about lunchtime today for the visitors. Mendieta.
Goalkeepers take a chance.
One to be shy, is he, Jens Lehmann, coming out like that, but he dealt with it calmly enough. A bit of lax control by Ljungberg. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, the Middlesbrough number 18 now, the former Chelsea number 9. Mendieta, Reisiger, whose injury is a shoulder problem, might need further attention after this game. They've decided to take the risk with the Dutchman from Barcelona. Jens Lehmann, a successful Premiership goalkeeper last season, with all Arsenal's games in the undefeated campaign. Arsenal top scorers and the best defensive record. Zenden. Mendieta, very quickly on the scene as usual. England's Ashley Cole.
Decent defending. Be going the other way that will concern me about Mendieta. This left-hand side, because no doubt Ashley Cole will test him.
Reyes. Ljungberg has come from right to left. Henry. Fair to be hit. Walks it down low.
Now they're getting greedy now on this left-hand side. Not only does Henry come there, but now we've just seen Ljungberg come straight across the field from right to left to get involved. And Matt Swatzer might have to make 1 or 2 better saves than that before the day's out.
Reyes, hungry for the action. He may not have command of the English language, but he's certainly got command of a Premiership football.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? He just showed us glimpses last season. He started this season really right on top form. Probably the fact that he didn't get selected by Spain in the summer helped him. Fresh, fit, ready.
But he was selected last Wednesday. Played the second half of an international in Las Palmas. Nice place to go to the game against Venezuela. Bergkamp, whose international days are well and truly behind him, but certainly not his Premiership days. I think it better be from Middlesbrough's point of view.
Just. There's a little twitchy Mark Schwarzer as he saw Reyes bearing down on him.
Australian, of course, of German background. Been at Middlesbrough a long time now, since February 1997. He was signed from Bradford City. Due back in London early next month, where Australia are setting up a training camp. He'll be accompanied by Mark Viduka. Here's Chris Riggott, who had to deal with an embarrassing moment against Newcastle in Middlesbrough's opening game. They fought back twice, had a 2-2 draw. Let the ball run under his feet and Bellamy race away behind him. It happens at this level. Sometimes tend to forget we are dealing with human beings and not machines. Mendietta's throw. Job. And beaten to it by Colin Cooper. A great professional he continues to be.
Oh, absolutely. But 37 years of age now. Don't expect to see him push too high up the pitch and hold a line. I think they might just drop off fairly early at times. Get good positions, starting positions.
Over 700 career games now for Cooper. As I said earlier, it's his 400th Middlesbrough game, a couple of spells at the club. Fabregas. The problem Arsenal do have to deal with playing at home is the crowd expect it all to happen, really. Sitting back in the pleasant surroundings here.
Yeah, it's not how but when, isn't it, they expect.
Here's Bergkamp, maybe now, but Boateng not allowing it to happen. A quick ball forward by Kudru, intercepted quickly by Locke.
I think Arsenal are just a little bit late in their challenges.
They're just hanging their feet in, really.
No, it's either...
Torre should have gone through the lot there. And again, like Hasselbank, head down. Don't even think twice and just give it some laces.
Well, how does Steve McLaren feel, having seen his team 3-1 up here at one stage? Here he is with Mark Bolton.
Steve, where and how do you start to deconstruct and analyse that today?
Very difficult. It will take a couple of days to get over that, but congratulations to Arsenal on a great achievement, fantastic achievement. But we had a chance to win today. We came here, we had a go, we didn't lay down. After the first half, we came out, and we went 3-1, and we had a great chance to win. We learned a lot about our team today, but credit to them. We need to be better than that, but it bodes well for the future, for the rest of the season.
You say you learnt a lot. What did you learn?
Well, really, when you're 3-1 up, we couldn't hold a lead, and I know Arsenal are one of the best teams in Europe and can exploit that, and they certainly did. But we need to be better when we're 3-1 up, especially away from home. But you know, I said to the lads in the second half, and you know, have a go. Don't come in here disappointed. Unfortunately, we've come in disappointed because we had a go and had a chance to win.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Of course he's disappointed because he's lost, but there are big pluses from what he's seen from his team today, aren't there?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I thought, even though it was against his old club, I thought Parla did particularly well for them today. And right the way through his side, I mean, Kedru really was probably a little bit unlucky not to have got the man of the match. Had his team ended up on the winning team, I think he probably could have got that vote. So he played very well. I thought Cooper and Riggott struggled at the heart of their defence, but then again, you know, they're up against Henry and Bergkamp. Missed Ekiog and Southgate in particular. You know, you have got those two players to come back, and I mean, they although they didn't look like they were going to score that often in the game, they've taken their opportunities that they got today, and you know, it should be still a good season, I think, for Middlesbrough.
This was the second of two live games that we had today from the Premiership. We started at the Hawthorns with West Brom and Villa. This is what happened. Alan Smith and Rob Hawthorne. can tell you it finished 1 apiece. I hope that we can have a look at it. Here it is. That was Highbury. That was the equalising goal, I think, from Middlesbrough right on half-time. I think we can now show you what happened at the Hawthorns. 1 apiece, Alan Smith and Rob Hawthorne.
Melberg! What a start for Aston Villa! In the 4th minute, they take the lead in the derby, and it's the defender Melberg who's got it!
It's such a silly goal to give away in many ways, isn't it? Melberg comes onto it. I think he just gets ahead of Ricardo Simica at the near post. Not so hard comes for it. Can't get there. And in the end, it's a simple header.
Here's Samuel. Getting the better of Bernd Haas. Barry! And somehow Hull kept it out.
No way that Jalud Samuel should have got past Bernd Haas here. He's in control of it, Haas, but I don't know what it is. A little bit lax, a little bit casual.
Solano's got a Melberg again! Off the line by Robinson. And Hitzelsberger hammers the response over.
You can see Melberg coming from deep. Hull gets a touch. That's very close.
Greening delivers, and it's there, and it's Neil Clement again. Clement, who scored on the opening day, does it again, this time to bring West Brom back from behind. It's level at 1-1. Simica. Delaney's missed, played back to Kanu. Was there a handball by McCann? The referee says no.
No penalty. So the Barclays Premiership looks like this. From the top, it's Arsenal back on top after that 5-3 win at Highbury today. Stunning 5-3 win as well. They and Chelsea 100%. Villa up into 3rd place on the back of their point today. Then it's Fulham, Liverpool, Spurs, Bolton, Manchester United, Everton and Southampton. Charlton, West Brom, Blackburn, Manchester City, Newcastle, Norwich, Portsmouth, Birmingham, Middlesbrough and Crystal Palace. At one stage today, where we're looking at 4 points by the end of the night. Big thanks to Martin Keown and John Gregory for joining us today. Andy's on his way back in here with the last word on all the weekend's football, and plenty of it to talk about as well. Not least, was that a goal? And that was 5-3 here. Andy's on the way. With Andy on all of the weekend's football, I'm sure there's 1 or 2 Villa fans gone home today thinking that if they'd gone 2-0 at the Hawthorns, they would have won that match. That a couple of decisions perhaps went against them. We'll have a look at the goal they feel they probably should have had in a moment or so and tell you whether it was in or out. But there's nowhere else to start except at Highbury, where for the first time this afternoon, in that 42-game unbeaten run, the Gunners were 2 goals down, Andy. It was under serious threat today. First time in that run, they've conceded 3. Is there a key to it?
Well, we'll have a look at the goals in a minute, but I think we're beginning to run out of superlatives to describe this side. For 44 minutes, Richard, it looked like a normal run-of-the-mill afternoon that Arsenal were going to win the game, playing comfortably, dominating the game. Middlesbrough hadn't really threatened, and that was the way it was going to be. And up until the 44th minute, that was the story. But suddenly in the 44th minute, what we got, we'll look at these goals, and we take Frank Kidru, who picks up the ball now. The things that Arsenal would be concerned about, he gets past 1 tackle far too easily. Look at many tackles he avoids. Another one, far too easily. And, you know, at times you say they've done this without Patrick Vieira, but I don't think Patrick Vieira in the side would have allowed Frank Kidru to have travelled as far as he's done.
Is this what Arsene Wenger meant when he said we were late with some of our tackling to do?
They've been late twice there already. And when he gets in here, Kidru, now he wins that one. And as soon as he's done that, and he's played the ball in, and he's made the little run in here, and he's going to marry up with that, they've got a problem, Arsenal, because I think it's Kolo Toure who's come out here with him, is suddenly out the game. And they're going to get a 2v1 situation. But they're only going to get a 2v1 situation if he can win the final one. Because there's no doubt Lauren has to come from marking job. He has to come and try and win it. That's what he's got to do in that situation. That's where the danger is. But again, full marks to Frank Kedrew for that. And I'm thinking, hey, son, just roll it across here, and he's going to tap it in. That's what I'm thinking watching it. Yeah. But he never even thought about that. Whether he even saw his teammate, I don't know. But the finish was a stunning finish. And that was that right on half-time.
It's a good job he scored, isn't it?
It is a good job he scored. I mean, Jimmy's goals is kind of different. It goes back to Kedrew again. And you look along the line here, they're okay along that line, Arsenal. They're okay. Seagan has got a little bit of depth on Hasselbank. Ashley Cole, he's coming in towards here. If Seagan goes long, he can always get back in there. So they look okay as Kedrew attempts to deliver this ball. And there's just a misunderstanding here. Because as that ball's played, I don't see a problem here unless Arsenal cause their own problems. Now, does Seagan, as he comes to win this, feel that Ashley Cole might be? I can only think yes. Because why would he not then put his head in that? No other reason.
No communication?
No, well, there wasn't communication because he leaves it. And I have to say, though, when I drop this in here and I say, go on then, give Jimmy the ball there. Goalkeeper's got a really good position. I can't fault Lehmann at all. He's standing up big. He's got a good angle on it. He's thinking Jimmy's going to go across him. Not on earth. That's power again. Straight past him. So they get that early lead. And then the third goal. So that could have been avoided. That was an individual error. And then Kedrew's goal. Well, the lads have debated this. I've looked at it. I think he spots him. But the only thing I would say, people say he does look, Richard, but...
What's he pointing at there? His arm's come out, hasn't it? Left arm. What's he looking at there?
Who?
Keeper.
Well, he's looking here. He's signalling to this area here, and he's saying, "Are you okay?"
Right.
Which Arsenal are. But look at his line. I mean, if I take a line from the ball to him, he's right in line with his back post. So he's definitely thinking, "Oh, it's coming in," and I'm just going to edge a little bit. And if anything comes in this area here, he's going to go and get that. Now, the only reason I don't think Kedrew crosses this because it's the way he actually puts his foot behind the ball. This doesn't look like a cross to me. He's actually...
Has he seen him or has he just chanced his arm here?
Well, I know he had a look, but that... I just don't see that as a mishit cross. I'm sorry.
No.
I really don't.
No.
I don't see it as a mishit cross. And I think, again, there you have an individual error. Goalkeeper's position slightly wrong. Arsenal might say fortuitous. We won't concede too many like that, and that's fair. So there are two of the goals, certainly second and third, that Arsene Wenger would look at and say, individual errors have cost them. And the first goal he will say, you won't see many players walk through 5 tackles against my team and end up with a goal. So they could have defended much, much better, Arsenal.
Just thinking it's a bit like that goal Peter Beardsley scored for England once, remember, at Wembley?
Absolutely.
Saw the keeper and then just whipped it in from the right-hand side.
Smashed it in from the right, bent it, more bend than that. That was all about power. And that's why, to me, it suggested that Kedrew had a little look, was going to cross it. I think that was definitely in his mind. You don't think about shooting, first of all, when you're in a position like that. He definitely looked for the cross. And I think as he's looked up, he sees where Lehmann is, and he thinks, I'll have a whack here.
I just said to the boys, John Gregory and Martin Keown, that was the most important goal today, Arsenal's most important goal, Bergkamp's, because it came so quickly after that one.
Yes. I couldn't agree more with the lads when they suggested that, and that's what I felt in commentary. You get to 3-1 up against the champions who are chasing this record. It's very much in the minds, Richard. So what do you want? You want to get your team back behind the ball. You would say, for 10 minutes, lads, just work your socks off. Defend deep, get bodies in the way, block tackles, scrap, give away free kicks if you need to, but keep the lead for 10 minutes. That's what Steve McLaren would have wanted his team to do. What they don't do in this goal is do that. I mean, if Arsenal come in, I think the back four are okay, right? They're that deep. The problem he's got is his midfield quartet have come up here somewhere. And who do you not want in that gap?
Bergkamp.
And where is he?
Just about to go in that gap.
There. Right in the gap between your back and your midfield. Now, somebody should be aware of this. Somebody should be caught either shouting from the back, pulling one of the midfield players back, but certainly somebody should be aware of it, and that's too big a gap right after you've gone 3-1 up to allow Arsenal to play into it, because they just love that. So as they play it across here, look at Dennis, he's just trotting across, and now they've got a problem. A major problem. Because Bergkamp's got the ball in the back of the way.
Should
now
one come?
They've got... Yeah, of course they should come. I mean, I'll tell you who's got the bigger problem with them both. Problem they've got is, when you look at it, and I think that this is Colin Cooper on the left-hand side, for Cooper to get over, he maybe thinks, I've got too far to go, right? He's on a slight angle, so he probably thinks I've got too far to go, so I'll just back off a little bit. And then Chris Riggett is worried about Henry, and he's thinking, if I go at the ball too early, then Bergkamp's
Well, that's what I was wondering. If they do go,
he's going to nick it past me,
right,
and then Henry's going to score. But you have to assess danger. Now as he gets the ball, fine. Now, once he's taken that touch, somebody has to come. And it's now a situation where either Cooper or Riggett can come. And I don't even think it's a mistake for him to make that decision, because he should expect his fullback to be able to get round on the cover, right, should the ball get nicked past them. But what they can't do is both back away. They can't both keep going that way, Richard, and allow Dennis Bergkamp to advance to the edge of the D. That is asking for trouble. But they do that. He takes his touch. He takes another touch. Now, you're giving Dennis Bergkamp 2 touches of the ball to set himself. And that is a fabulous strike. And it's a hugely important goal.
And is he playing well?
Playing great. But if you give Dennis that type of room, he is going to embarrass you.
He keeps finding it also, doesn't he?
Well, but he finds it because it's there. He finds it because it's there. Again, the work in this ball, I think maybe the tackles here again, you can look at this and say, a tackle there, that's a mistimed tackle. But from there, I think it's Fabregas who skips past another, and then you're thinking, oh, should he be doing that? Should he be getting past as easily as that? Maybe I'm not giving the lad enough credit for his ability. But then even when this happens, Richard, look at Perez, he's coming in from what you call the wide angle. Everyone thinks he's not paying attention, but he's going to make sure he's going to drive in here just because he knows something might happen. He takes a chance, he gambles. But I just think that when Henry does that, I know he's great and I know he's quick. You talk about Michael Reitziger, who's a world-class fullback. He might have done better. But as it plays, full marks to Henry because he manages to scuff a shot out. Now you can see there that Perez is quite clearly onside. I think it's Colin Cooper is going really deep there. Obviously trying to block the shot if he gets one in. But he does. But what I've said all the time, if you're going to scuff it far post. Because if you're worked at things, you should have someone coming in on the back post like that, and then suddenly the record is back on. But what you don't do 48 seconds later, Richard, is this. But just, do you know what? I was going to try and analyse this, but do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to run it at full speed and just watch how quickly, when Arsenal get possession, they score. Just watch this.
And the touches in between.
No, just watch how quick they are. They win the ball there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half a dozen of the best. Take that and good night, boys. I mean, why analyse things like that? Why not just sit back and say, that's awesome? That's awesome.
It was.
And then here, I mean, he's made a mistake, and from there. But watch Henry. I mean, what we talk about Henry, he's down here at the start. He doesn't really do an awful lot. He doesn't change his direction, show a dummy to Colin Cooper. Watch him, just watch the way. He's in, he knows what's happening, he just in near post. Colin Cooper loses him for just a half a second. But, you know, he didn't do anything out of the ordinary. But Arsenal, I called that goal, they made football look simple. And it's not.
But the manner in which he scores also, a lot of other forwards in there might just get caught, they might just get hurt, but he just caresses that ball into the net and walks away.
He's so quick.
He never gets caught, does he?
No, he's so quick. He very rarely gets caught, but when he does get caught, he lets people know he's not happy. He doesn't like it when people actually have a kick at him, Thierry Henry, quite rightly so. But the amount of times that happens, few and far between. He's got great feet, quick feet, he's a strong boy, he's 6 foot plus, knows how to look after himself, and when you've got the speed that he's got, you're not going to get caught very often.
We've seen some good games since we've been doing this job, but
fantastic.
Where does that rank for you?
It's certainly up there. It's not in the classic mould, because I think we've seen some classics because of the teams involved. Now, and it's no disrespect to Middlesbrough, but it wasn't a giant confrontation of a Manchester United, a Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, that kind of Newcastle, that kind of ilk that we've seen through the years. But it was what it was that it was almost a stamp of approval from everyone around that this Arsenal side deserved to beat the record. The records are there to be shot at. I hope they go in and do it. I really do. I mean, so often we've seen people fall at the last hurdle and just equal it. I think back to Gary Lineker when he did he equal Bobby Charlton?
He equialled,
and he had a penalty,
chipped,
and he tried
penalty.
to chip a penalty.
Yeah.
I mean,
those sort of things happening, you never get the chance again. So I think I'd like to see this team do it, because I think they deserve to do it, because they haven't drawn 21
What is that,
games.
43 unbeaten or a second season unbeaten?
Oh no. I didn't think they could go last season unbeaten. They did. Am I going to be daft enough to say they won't go this season unbeaten?
I don't think anybody would at this stage, would they?
No, they're awesome. They're ahead of everyone else at the moment in preparation, and they're ready, and our people are fit and ready to go. And I said they'd laid a marker down in the Community Shield. I said they rubber stamped that last week at Goodison. My goodness, no, they've just
fantastic.
Wrote it. They've written it in triplicate today, out there. That was fantastic for them.
The second of 2 live games from the Premiership today. We started at the Hawthorns with West Brom and Aston Villa. Now, Villa were a goal up. They scored the fastest goal in the Premiership this season inside 4 minutes. Should they have been 2 goals up before West Brom got their equaliser?
I thought it was a close call. I thought it looked like it was over the line. When you see, I think it's Robinson, the left back, where he plants his foot. But let's have a look at it, because as I said, we'd give you the definitive. We've had the lads working on it. Okay? So, this is a goal earlier. So, the linesman's on this side, Richard. And the thing that not confuses him, but makes it difficult for him, is the defender on the post. You see that? The defender's right in the post. He's partially obscuring the linesman's view. And I thought at the time, this would have been an interesting call had the linesman been on the other side.
He can't see there, can he?
He can't really see with the defender there. So I got the lads to take it round and show us from the other side. Now, you get a little different perspective, but it's close. Now, I'm not going to criticise an official for getting that wrong, because it happens quickly. What I thought was it looked over, because the right leg is planted, the right foot's planted on the goal line, therefore that other leg has to be in the net somewhere. It was. They got away with it. It might have been different.
It's a goal, isn't it?
It's over the line, yes. Yeah. It's over the line. But had he been this side, the flag might have gone up, a goal might have been given. As it was, from the far side, he decides that the linesman, I'm not sure, I can't give it. I don't think anyone can argue.
In fairness to West Brom, they deserved their point, didn't they?
Yes. I mean, I think at the end of the day, when you hear the interviews, Olaf Melberg was interviewed and asked, fair result, and he said, well, we conceded a lot of chances, and they did. They defended poorly from set plays and almost conceded. And of both teams, there's no doubt West Bromwich Albion had the better chances and will feel the most disappointed about not taking 3 points.
We have seen some fabulous goals this weekend, not least those that were scored here today. But what was the best for you, this game aside?
Well, none of these would get in it, unfortunately.
Oh, they wouldn't?
No, they were great.
All right. Include this then.
They were great. They were great. None of them would get in the goal of the weekend, and it might well be the goal of the season, even now, second weekend.
I'll bet it's not.
I'm telling you, it's Patrick Berger's. I don't think that, I mean, and the reason it's so magnificent, I mean, we saw Thierry Henry do something like this here.
Yes.
But it's because it's his awareness of what he wants. The defender is giving him the option to turn him anyway, because you can see how far the defender's over on his left.
Should he be that tight?
Not unless he's going to win it. Not because he makes up Berger's mind. Berger can only turn one way now. And where do you not want Patrick Berger turning onto?
Left foot.
Your left foot. Now, in saying that, when he flips it up like this, he's still got a lot to do. Look where the goalkeeper is. 2 yards off.
Not much more, is he?
Not much more. And as this drops, he's got nothing else in his mind. Look at that for technique.
Good job the ref moved.
I know. He's brilliantly balanced. Connects with it as sweet as you like. And from what? Well, yeah. Just over 30 yards. And it doesn't matter if Dean Kiley's got 2 other Dean Kileys on top of his shoulders. He still isn't going to get up there to save that.
He was beaten by a Kocher last week as well. He's had quite a start, hasn't he?
I mean, it's a stunning effort. It really is a stunning effort. That is goal of the season.
Is that
let me rephrase it. That's early. It's not goal of the season. It's the best goal of the weekend. And I include, when you think of Alan Smith's at Old Trafford, which was a stunning volley as well. The goals that we've seen here.
You mentioned Henry's here against Manchester United, that one he rolled up and beat Barthez with. Is it better than that one?
Yes, I think the reason it's better than that is Thierry Henry was near the edge of the box. He was infield slightly, and he's flipped it and hit it, and all in one movement. And I think Berger's was from a more difficult angle. He's had to deal with it because he's flipped it up in the air higher than Thierry Henry did that particular day, and he's had to smash it across a goalkeeper from a more difficult angle than Henry did. And picking at straws here when I try and separate them, aren't I? Because they were both stunning strikes.
Yes.
Stunning
it's
strikes.
Like the year we got McAllister and Shearer's volleys. There was nothing between those, really, was there?
Nah.
OK, now, to Anfield then. Liverpool trailed at one point to Manchester City by 1-0 and came storming back, inspired by their captain, Steven Gerrard.
A lot's been made of, obviously, Michael Owen leaving. And it was interesting to hear Steven talk about how they will miss him. Yes, but when you see the performances, the likes of which he's given at the moment, and the one he gave yesterday, you understand why Liverpool moved heaven and earth to keep the boy there, to persuade him that his future lay at Anfield because of what he gives the team and what he gives them from central midfield. And that's the interesting dilemma in a broader perspective, looking at England and whether they continue to play him left side of midfield. Because when you do that, you do take away from this boy. He can do it. He can play there, no problem. But do you take something away from him? Do you deny England something that he gives Liverpool because you play him there? I mean, look at the goals yesterday. We'll work at this. I mean, and I have to say, Barros' movement is first class here as well. Because when the ball comes out and they win it, he's got that little point. Now, it'd be easy. You know, an easy pass, Richard, is there. You know, that's an easy ball. Play him in and go and support it. What he's looking at, he's looking for a more difficult pass. Can I feed it in there? Or can I slide it down in amongst here? Can I get someone in who's going to get something? Ref's in the way again, but he soon gets out the way because watch Barros though. You see how Barros is marked here, right there at the edge of the box. That's not a problem. But I like the way Barros move. Oh no, let me do it wrong. One I'm doing. I like the way Barros comes this way, and what he does then, he creates a gap, and he says to Steven Gerrard, "Do you want to feed me in? Are you good enough to pick this pass out in a tight area like this?" And just watch this. Watch Barros. There he goes. Opens his body. Now, can you feed the pass in? Look how deliberate that is. Look how beautifully weighted it is. Perfection.
Nice touch.
Great touch, but the pass did it for him. And that's what he does. But what he does more than anything is when you see his goal. And it's just I mean, it tells you everything about him. You see the play building up here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that is Mr. Gerrard.
Right.
That is Mr. Gerrard. Now, what you have here, Richard, is a situation where you have 4 against 2 here. OK? Not a problem. Then the players need to take responsibility. Remember I talked about Sean Wright-Phillips, how when he played wing-back, I thought maybe defensively he got exposed a little. Well, I think we'll find that Sean is here. And all right, he's got a player there and he's outside, but watch when he starts to make his run. I'm talking about Gerrard, Steven Gerrard starts to make his run forward, and how people switch off. Now he's coming. Now, Sean Wright-Phillips, if he sees him, I think he's got to track him until he gets a shout from someone. He must see him. Of course he must see him, because the ball's on the other side of the pitch, so he must be aware of him. But he doesn't, and he keeps going. Barros now runs away, the centre-back. Full-back standing with his hand in the air. Now, he must see Gerrard as well. Yeah?
What's he doing?
Well, he's looking for offside.
Well,
he's looking for offside. Oh. But even then, so he should be aware of Steven Gerrard, who's arriving from there, and track him in there. But look at this. Look at Gerrard. Straight past the defender. Now they've got a problem. And I talk about when you gamble, you get your luck. That's what that boy's all about. And the fullback's still looking for offside.
I'd like to dwell on that, but there is one other issue this weekend I'd like to ask you about. The penalty, big moment at St Mary's, which gave Southampton all 3 points. Now, there is a view that it was a cast-iron penalty. What is yours?
There's a view it wasn't a penalty as well. I mean, I can understand why Andy Durso, who didn't have the best of games, it has to be said, gave the penalty. And I'll tell you why. First of all, you look at the referee's position, and this is what we're looking at from this angle, because it doesn't show a lot. But when that ball gets played in, you can see quite clearly that Andy Durso has got a brilliant view of this. He couldn't have a better view. Now, if he's there by design, he's picked a great position. And the ball's getting played into an area where he's not going to score. But he's going up and he's looking to protect this ball. Now, I know what it's like to be a centre forward. And sometimes you look at Craig Short's reaction. He's not ranting and raving, he's not complaining. I think he's almost inevitably thinking, why have I gone and challenged for that? And I'll tell you why, because sometimes you can't win the ball. sometimes you can't win it, Richard. Now look, when a centre forward's going up, he goes up like that. Sometimes you have to accept you can't win it. As he's going to take it in his chest, he comes through him. Now, I think if that's outside the penalty area, 9 times out of 10 that's a free kick. I think Dusto has seen that. Craig Short coming in at the back of Beattie. Beattie going down, and I can understand why he's given the penalty.
Brave.
Well, I mean, Graham Souness will be sitting there going, what are you talking about, Andy? That was never a penalty. But in many ways, Graham thought it was a harsh decision. He didn't say it was not a penalty. There's a lot of times it wouldn't have been given, but I can understand why it was.
He's too calm to get upset this season.
Yeah,
anyway.
he is actually, yeah.
This is what's coming up on Sky Sports. What a day from one another. Tomorrow at 7:30 from the Carling Cup, it's Rochdale and Wolves. It's on Sky Sports 2. Tuesday and Wednesday with live football from the Premiership. Tuesday at 7, it's Palace and Chelsea. Wednesday at 7, it's Newcastle and Norwich. Both those matches on Sky Sports 2. And Friday at 7:30 from the Football League. That's on Sky Sports 3. It's Gillingham against Queen's Park Rangers. Extraordinary day, and Arsenal are still unbeaten. 42 now and counting. Well played, the champions.